Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's doing fantastic. The auto-suggestion technique, or the immersion technique, or the swimming technique. I kind of like that one. I know it's not nearly as marketable, so I went with the one that people kind of sort of know it by. I don't know, this caught my eye. I thought it was interesting, and I wanted to get into the mechanics because it actually does a bunch of stuff at once, and I thought this was brilliant. So whoever invented this or came up with this idea, kudos, good job, love you. So anyways, this is one of the ones for those of you that really like to do the imaginal work. You like doing that extra effort. You feel like it's giving you a good reward for doing it, and you're kind of wondering, how can I expand this, or what can I do with this, or how can I really make this work for me? And what you can do. So maybe you've got a specific scene, right, for example, that you keep imagining, or maybe there's a couple things, right? This actually will enhance that, and what it does is it creates the auto-suggestion, which I will discuss as well. So all of these things kind of come together in one beautiful little technique. So I love this. I thought this one was really, really cool. And immersion, I think, again, because really to get into something to the extent you need to, you've got to like immerse yourself into it. You got to like swim in it, if you will. I don't know if you've ever met a liar. This is my example of it, and I don't want to get into it. I'm going to give a negative example, if you will, but it's a really good one. If you've ever met a liar, someone that does it constantly, habitually, all the time, these people never really know what is, well, basically they end up believing what they're saying over and over. So my point is they keep saying the lies so often that they actually end up believing it themselves. And that's really what this technique kind of does. But essentially what you do is you keep imagining out all of these different scenarios. In a sense, you swim in the idea of imagining things. So maybe, like I said, you've got this specific imaginal scene. Maybe it's a specific person, right? And we've been imagining a dinner together, right? And you've been imagining the dinner, just using an example. So we've imagined dinner. I've got the table set. Everything's really perfect and beautiful. I can see the glasses. I can see they're bubbling with champagne. I can see the maitre d'. I can see the, right? Like I've got the whole thing painted. I've done an awesome job. What is Dan asking me to do now? Here's what Dan's asking you to do now. Now I'm saying, all right, let's think of another thing that you guys are going to do. Maybe you guys are going to go on a boat ride together, right? Imagine yourself sitting on a boat together with the wind blowing in your hair, her sitting in front of you, or him sitting in front of you in their bathing suits, or however you want to imagine them, right? And you imagine that scene, and you build that scene. And then wait, maybe there's a scene where you guys are doing a drive together someplace. Maybe you're doing a road trip. Maybe you're heading out to some in-law or relative or whatever. So you imagine the drive, imagine the scenes, imagine. So now you've got 3 different major scenes that you've been imagining. You're sort of swimming in it. And what that kind of does is like living in the end, right? It's using that concept in it. Like that's part of your thing. You're doing it so much, you're swimming in it so often that it's actually doing that. Now, on top of that, you're actually creating new memories, which is very similar to kind of the I remember when concept, right? You're implanting memories in your idea by imagining from and all that. You're actually creating those memories. And I've said before, and there's studies that back this up, that the parts of the brain where memories are stored and the parts of the brain that are used when imagining are the same. Like it's the same part of that core part of the brain that is utilized. Now, granted, there might be little different areas firing, but it's in that same genre, that same area, and they can start to be construed as real when you keep doing the imaginal work. So, again, that's that I remember when. And on top of that, you're kind of seeing these new experiences. Like I said, so you're doing that imagining from technique all rolled into one. So by swimming in it, meaning you're taking whatever you've been imagining and you ramp it up on steroids, man. You create 5 times the amount of these scenes and get into them and build them and think about them. When you've got free time, obviously, if you're supposed to be driving your car, focus more on that, please. But if you've got idle time and you love thinking about things and you want to try to find conscious, creative ways to get your mind focused in something that will make an enormous difference, this does. And true, by the way, when you're having all the little mind chatters that some people suffer from, when you're literally this intent on trying to come up with new scenes and new things that you would like to do with your specific person, then you will actually find that these doubt moments don't happen as often because you're constantly focused on where you'd like to go. Oh, yes. And by painting all these awesome experiences, many of them, you create this other fantastic scenario that begins to happen. This idea of the auto-suggestion. Auto-suggestions happen because you've created so many of these scenarios that it begins to truly create, that it paints it into your subconscious. It creates that reality in your subconscious. It's been hit with so many different memories, so many different scenarios that it has nothing but to accept this reality you're presenting to it. And when that happens, the questions aren't as often as, they're far fewer. You get far less the amount of questions that you end up with from that little voice inside our heads, that reality checker, whatever that person is. It is incredible. So by doing that, also, you're going to get auto-suggestions to do things. Do things you may not actually realize you're doing. You might actually say things from time to time to somebody. They're just like, whoa, what just came out of my mouth? I can't believe I just said that. And it will impact maybe your friendship or whatever. But sometimes things need to change in order to get us to go where we need to go. Sometimes we're very anchored in a belief or in a practice or in an ideology. And maybe what we're trying to manifest requires a breaking out of that mold that we've been in, doing something that's maybe a little outside our comfort zone. Otherwise, you might have already bumped into this person, right? So we're trying to expand ourselves in some way. What's something that you might need to do that maybe might not be the most comfortable thing, but if it happens, you take advantage of it. So again, it might be inspired action. Might be something where when these auto suggestions might be like, oh, I totally feel like I need to do this. Then do it, definitely. If you are doing this practice, you will get these things. You will just accidentally do things. You will maybe be driving, for an example, right? And maybe you're driving and you're like, oh crap, I dropped my phone. And you're like, but you're still kind of looking right. But you grabbed your phone and, oh shoot, I missed the turn. Oh well, I'll make the next left. And you do that and you end up going down that road and you see some place you never knew even existed there. Or maybe you bump into somebody, or maybe you try a coffee shop that looks really cool that you'd never seen before. And you're like, sounds good. Another inspired action, right? And you're like, boom, go inside, boom, meet the man of your dreams or the woman of your dreams. You will auto do something when you're not really expecting it because you're so focused on all these different things. Again, you're not all worried about what's right now. You're still looking out and beyond. You still kind of got that, you're looking out above the crowd, out above the forest. You're still looking out ahead. And you're letting universe create all the little dots. And so your subconscious mind sometimes is working with higher self, and it's like, no, I got this. Watch. Bleep, there goes his phone. Damn, right? And it's all it takes. And boom, got it. Ended up where we needed to go. And I'm not saying that we're controlled or that there's some sort of destiny. It's not like that. We've created this. This is what the outcome is we've created. And that path to get there is we need to do it. We need to make this effort. We need to have an auto suggestion tell us where we need to go. But these things will and do happen. So again, you sink all that extra imaginal time into all these different scenes, and you will find some of the most amazing stuff starts to open up before you, and you will be automatically doing stuff even. Choices you will make them. You'll be like, it happened or whatever. Life will happen. You'll end up where you end up. The timing of it will be whatever it is. But you'll wake up late one morning, and that because of that, you ended up at the Starbucks, 15 minutes later than you normally do, and you bump into the man of your dream. Right? Any number of scenarios can start to play out through auto-suggestions. It's awesome. So hopefully it's something you play with. I think this is a lot of fun, and this is definitely something I would recommend. People have asked me before, and I kind of recently came across but this is kind of more my style. If I'm going to do something, I do it pretty heavily, pretty intently, and then tend to sometimes kind of let it go after a period and just sort of let stuff kind of happen. And again, it'll pop back into my head every so often, and I'll just revisit the many scenarios. That's all. I look forward to that, look forward to that, look forward to that. Oh, that's going to be fun, right? And I just keep kind of walking down and thinking of other things, like I was saying in one of the other videos, just keep chopping my vegetables, man, because everything's good. I'm just moving along and enjoying the ride, and, it's a fun journey. So hopefully this helps. This is a great technique. Highly recommend it. Hope you guys try that out. It's Dan RadioStyle. More great shows coming your way. Thanks so much.